just the Mayo connections. The first Garda Commissioner was Michael Staines from Newport. And that's the first guard. Larkin, that's a meeting his brother for the first time. And they're the great grandchildren of the first guard, half Hawaiian triplets. So they said, not long can you have the trouble tracing your ancestors or tracing your descendants. You could end up anywhere. That's his brother's grave in the same cemetery that was killed in June. That's the Thomas St. George McCarthy. Paul's grave. That's unveiled thing to him. This is John Charles Milling, was the magistrate who was killed in Westport. He was changing the clock to, and I'm in contact with his family. I met his family in Belfast, and they had a reunion for the first time with cousins they hadn't corresponded but never met in England. And two of them turned up wearing identical rings on the small finger, and they were passed down through generations with the family coat of arms on it. And it was a thing that it was passed down from each of the generations that they would wear on that, the eldest son. And it was uncanny on the day just to see it. And in the house that we were in, they had the rest of the buttons and the stamp that actually made the rings. That's him as an inspector of the RIC, district inspector. That's him there at the tree photographs. That's his father, Oliver Milling. He defended Kilmallock Barracks in 1867, was given the Constabulary Medal. And that's the medal. They made a copy of that when I met him from it, and each member of the family got it. That's the Joseph Cox. He was born in County Mayo. The two of them. That's his grave there above in Dublin. Patrick Quinn from Mayo, first to be knighted, first policeman to be knighted. The Bishop from Mayo, Hollymount. Just another DLP man from County Mayo. These are different items that turn up all over the place. The RIC, I don't know where this place is, Ockerville, County Mayo.
Up the road.
Is it?
The graveyard out there.
Was it? Oh yeah, the street's from. And that's the watch of his turned up. This is turned up in New Zealand. Archibald Thompson, Mayo, his medal. This is a fellow Coxlow. A huge archive of stuff. He recorded absolutely everything. He's actually an extra in The Quiet Man too, and his number was 70604, and he ended up going out to Palestine. 687 members of the RIC ended up in Palestine. That's him in Palestine afterwards, but he photographed absolutely everything outside there. And this is the fellow that was this number next to him, 70603, also from Mayo. He ended up out there. That's another DLP man. This is a fellow in the NYPD who was in the Olympics in Bohola. That's the Bram Stoker connection. Oh yeah, the connection to Dracula is Thomas Thornley married Matilda Blake from Ballyhaunis in 1817, and their daughter, Charlotte Matilda Blake Thornley, married Abraham Stoker, which is Bram Stoker's father. That's where he ended up in disorder on the left-hand side there. And that's it.
Oh, Jim, there was some kind of a controversy about Garda Kerrigan's personal life, was there?
Oh yeah, well he got into a bit of a row with something words or passed kind of in the station, but his main problem was that he had, over a period of time since he had joined, he had got some loans off fellas, and he fell on a bit on hard times. And then what happened was he was out sick for a while, and he was paying back everything, but then it got on top of him. He got sick again, he went ill health, and as a result of it then he was unable to pay them. And what happened then was that there was inquiry into it, and the people were making the complaints about unpaid bills and things like that. They all.
And had he compromised himself with the loan? He had?
Not necessarily. He did his utmost to do them, but his health circumstances didn't help the situation, and things got just beyond him at the time. But again, when you think of it like a fledgling police station, it was our police force and set up. There was no structures in place to kind of deal with disciplinary matters or anything like that, but he was just unfortunate in the way it happened.
And was he long on the force when all this happened to him?
No, he was only very little altogether.
Like, was he a year or?
About that.
About a year,
because he transferred into Dublin Metropolitan Police.
From the Garda?
Yeah. And then what happened was, by the time the the Garda side were catching up with things. He had moved to the next stage to the DMP, and then when he got to DMP, he went on further again.
Well, were they subsumed into the Garda force then? Did he Dublin Metropolitan?
They were in 1925, so by the time he left and went off to America, the DMP that he had gone into became the Garda
They were
Síochána.
amalgamated.
Became the Dublin Metropolitan Division of the Garda Síochána. So he was back to square one. He was back into the
Back in the Garda then.
Yeah.
Is that why he left, you think?
That was one of the main reasons. He actually, it was like, what did you say, forced to resign. So he left at that stage.
Okay.
Just went off.